Graduated in 2013 in the MA program with a concentration in arts and culture. Fast Company, they actually just launched their news division. So basically, they take like topical news items and they spin it into really short blog posts that would be of interest to our readers. And so they call that the Fast Feed. And so that's their new news division, which I help out with. When I was brought on, that's primarily what I was working on. Now, primarily I'm working on our Most Creative People series, which is basically finding and profiling and highlighting the most creative people, not only just in business, but in arts and culture, in science, just anybody who's doing anything in their field that's creative that can be applicable to our readers. This guy named Drew Daywalt, who is he has a #1 best-selling, New York Times best-selling children's book right now called The Day the Crayons Quit. He's the writer, but in his spare time, he makes these horror film shorts on YouTube. So you have a children's book writer who makes these like horror films on the side, and I talked to him just yesterday, and I had like the most amazing interview with him. He's like this absolutely fascinating guy. So it's basically just finding these really interesting creatives and just bringing them to light and telling their story, telling their creative process. I graduated college in 2008, moved to New York, and was lucky enough to find work. And so I did business journalism. I worked in custom publishing for a while. I worked on like in the editorial department of this startup website. And so I did a little bit of everything, and I wanted to go back to school to find a program that would sort of put all of that together, and like I said, not be a regurgitation of what I learned in during my bachelor's. So I found Columbia, the master's program, the Master of Arts program, and I was like, this is perfect. It was great because you had professors who were in the field, like currently in the field, and so you just had this wealth of resources, and that was really what attracted me to Columbia. I think for me at least, as a student, knowing that my professor is also either working on an article, working on a book, or just in the trenches with us, it makes you feel like there's this sort of like this commonality that you share with your professor, and like that they understand like where you're coming from, and like I said, they're not so removed from the world, because like how can you teach journalism without really doing journalism, so that's really that to me is like invaluable.